KK. I don't introduce yourself. Precious KK. Say hello, and then Tosan Ubata. Hello, everyone. Okay, so we'll start now, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join this webinar. So this webinar is an opportunity to discuss everything you would like to know about studying and living in the Maple Leaf country, Canada. We would also use this platform as a means of describing who we are at IDP Education, what we do, the services we seek to render to you, prospective students, as well as Destination Canada. The title of this webinar is "Deduced from the Artistically Crafted Canadian Flag that embodies the beautiful red maple leaf that has attracted millions of international students to the country." This session would give everyone the opportunity to ask questions about what it takes to relocate to Canada using the study route. We have intentionally selected the word relocate because Canada is one of the most accommodating countries in the world. We'll be answering the most frequently asked questions like documents required to study in Canada, requirements to study master's, postgraduate diploma, and BSc, that's bachelor's degree, and we're going to answer questions on how to explain a study gap, if you have one, why a study plan or statement of purpose is important, the importance of proof of funds, the need to prove the relationship between you and your sponsor, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the session. So the first person that will be taking up this webinar is Precious. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's always it's always an opportunity to tell people about the beauty of the Canadian application process. Yes, hi everyone. So my name is Precious, and like my colleague rightly said, I'm the education counselor for Canada for IDP Education. Really amazing to be here. So let's talk about Canada, right? Okay, so what will I be running you through today? Basically, I'm going to run you through the application process, and I'm going to be running you through the application process and all of that in Canada and what it takes to study in Canada. Give me a minute, guys, I'm with you. All right. Fun facts and figures about Canada. So the capital of Canada is Ottawa, right? That's the capital of Canada, not Toronto. A lot of people mix that up together, but it's actually Ottawa, right? Then the population of Canada is about 37.59 million individuals, right? As of 2019. They have two languages, the English language and the French language. So we have the English speaking part, and we also have the French speaking part of Canada. Then, of course, we know that Quebec is like the biggest French speaking place in Canada, right? Then we have 3 territories and, of course, 10 provinces, right? Some of the provinces are Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Yukon, New Brunswick, just to mention a few. And so why would you decide to study in Canada? Affordable tuition and living. Now, tuition is really, really affordable in Canada. I know sometimes you see the tuition and it runs into thousands and everybody's scared, but no, it's actually really affordable compared to other places. The exchange rate for Canadian dollars is not as high as other currencies. And of course, cost of living is actually really good, right? It's safe, multicultural environment as well. Canada is one of the safest places in the world actually to study or to live and to also groom children as well. Multicultural environment. So you go to Canada, you see people from India, you see from China, you see Africans, you see Americans, name it. They're all in Canada because it's a very accommodating society. Then of course, hands-on experience. What is hands-on experience? Ability to practicalize what you study is actually the hands-on experience. So Canada gives that opportunity, right? I want to make this interesting because I know it's afternoon and everybody's tired. So I'm going to try as much as possible to make it as interesting as I can. So, but Canada is an interesting country, so I know you're in for a good ride. So yes, it creates a lot of hands-on experience. Co-op. What is a co-op? If you follow the IDP page, there was a particular video I did and I kind of explained what the co-op is, right? So basically you study a program and you have the ability to work in that field for a number of, say, a couple of months, right? That adds to your working experience in Canada because you're working in that field. So that's the co-op. You have that available a lot in colleges and also in universities in Canada as well. Then research from the undergraduate level as well. It creates that experience for you. So you're actually very tuned in to what you studied. Then coordination with between universities and local employers to ensure degrees offered are relevant to the job market. This is one of the intricacies about Canadian schools that I love so much because I know that they try to tune into the trend in the market. So when there is a program available in that market, they ensure that there are actually jobs outside so that when students are done, they go into these places and actually work. That's the beauty of Canada. So you see a lot of Canadian institutions partnering with companies like KPMG, Lloyd's, name it. They partner with these people because they want to create the satisfaction for the Canadian students, right? Then post graduation work permit. This is like the most beautiful aspect of studying in Canada. It's so beautiful. What is the postgraduate study work permit? This gives you the opportunity to work after studies. We have some courses that give you the opportunity to work for a year. We have the ones that give you the opportunities to work for to work for 2 to 3 years. When do you work for 1 year? When you do a 1-year program, you immediately get the 1-year work permit. If you do a 2 years program, which is actually the safest, you get to work for 2 to 3 years. So most often than not 3 years. Then permanent residence in the long run. So at the end of the day, when you're done with your studies, you're done with your work, note, for you to get the PR in Canada, you must have worked for 1 complete full year. But it's not automatic, yeah? So if you're doing the 1-year program and you think you can just automatically jump to start working immediately in the first year, it's almost not so possible because once you eat into your 12 months, you're shooting yourself in the leg. So it's advisable that you do the 2 years so that you get it 3 years. All right, then. I'm still with you. Okay, so I'm just going to run you through. Give me a minute. Okay. Yes, the intakes that are available in Canada. We have the fall, we have the spring, we also have the winter. So what is the fall intake? The fall intake is always in September. It opens up October, November, the year before you start the application as against the next year, September. So if you're trying to apply for September 2023 right now, you should be thinking of starting the process as we speak because it's open now for some schools, not all, but some schools are open now for the application for fall 2023. Then we have the spring, we have the winter start date, and that's in January. It's another good season, but it closes up. So you're supposed to apply for that in April, May. You should start looking towards the January start date. Then, of course, you have the spring. The spring is in May. So if you want to go for the spring session, you should have started like 2 months ago. But it's still not late. You can actually still do the spring right now, and that's May. But if you must go for the spring right now, try and make sure that you are on track because it's also closing up as well. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the rankings of schools in Canada. So they're basically the Maclean's ranking. We also have the Shanghai Top 500. We also have the QS. I know a lot of people are very familiar with the QS World University ranking. A lot of people are very familiar with that. So these are the ranking styles in Canada. So for the QS, I'm going to talk about that. We have schools like University of Alberta, we have University of Waterloo, we have Dalhousie, we have Guelph, we have Ontario Tech, we have Queen's University, you have Carleton, Lakehead, Ryerson. Ryerson is now Toronto Metropolitan University, by the way. We also have Saskatchewan University, University of Saskatchewan. We also have University of Regina. All of these schools are under the QS ranking in Canada. Okay, so I'm going to quickly run you through the bachelors. I don't know how many people here are going for the bachelors, but I'm going to run you through it. Now, it's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward, right? What are the requirements? Of course, we need your international passport. Your international passport is unquestionable, undebatably very important. Then, of course, the high school transcript is also very important, and that's like the secondary school transcript as well. So you start from SS1 through to SS3. That's the transcript that will be required for the bachelor's, right? Then, of course, not all schools, IELTS is not required, but it is optional. Please quote me. It is not required, but it is optional. It's not something that you must have, like the transcript, but it is advisable. Schools like Thompson Rivers will tell you not to have anything less than a B3 in English language for you to be qualified to for the English test waiver. So if you're having anything less than a B3 for those kind of schools, it is advisable that you take the IELTS, right? So not all schools in Canada require IELTS. However, it is optional and it can be very necessary. For example, if your English language score is not so high, it is important that you have the IELTS. Okay, then, thank you. So another thing that you might most likely need is your personal statement. The personal statement is so important and it cannot be overemphasized. What does the personal statement entail? It entails the following things. I'm going to run you through it shortly. Number one, why are you going for that studies? Why are you studying that course? Why Canada? What would you like to use that program for? How does it impact in your life personally? So that's what you also have to look at when you're looking at drafting your personal statement. Then letter of recommendation, if applicable though. But I always advise that students bring this so that, you know, the recommendation letter shows your strength. The person recommending you knows your strength and all of that. So it's not so important, but it's necessary that you have that as well. Portfolio, you need your portfolio if you're going for some particular programs. Not all programs require a portfolio, but if you're going for certain programs, you should have a portfolio. I hope I'm not going so fast because I want everybody to follow me. Okay. All right, then. So if you're going for programs like engineering, you're going for programs like architecture, right? You need some particular subjects. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've had a lot of students with no background in the sciences. They have a lot of background in the arts, saying that they like to study medicine or nursing or health sciences. This also cuts to the postgraduate too, but I'm going to get there. It is advisable that you should know that there are prerequisites to this. If you are coming from an art background, you can't jump into engineering. There are mediums. For example, for architecture and engineering, you need courses or subjects like mathematics. Very important. You need your physics. You need your chemistry as well. So these are things that must be seen in your WAEC. Aside your WAEC, it must also be seen in your high school transcript. Then, if you're going for biology or health sciences or biology, you need your mathematics, you need your biology, of course, you need your chemistry as well. If you're going for business or commerce, you already know that you need your mathematics, you need your marketing, commercial transactions, commerce and financial transactions and all of that. You should be coming from that aspect or angle, right? Then, okay, so IB diploma also required if you have that, but your WAEC can actually still suffice though. Then moving on. For the masters, I really wanted to get here. I'm so excited. So the main intakes are always September and January. Sprinkles of May, but mostly January and September for the masters. Please recall that I said masters, not certificate or diploma. I'm talking masters right now. And to do a master's in Canada is quite tricky. You need to have a 2-1. A 2-1, it is a non-negotiable thing. You need to have a 2-1 for you to be qualified to do a master's in Canada, right? If you're going, however, for, say, an MBA program and all of that, and you're having less than a 3.0, you'll be required to bring a GMAT. You will be required to bring a GMAT. There is no waiver. And it doesn't matter how long you've worked. The fact that you don't have the 3.0 is going to be a bit of a hindrance. And the 3.0 is over 4, right? And that means it is compulsory that you have a 2-1 for you to move and do a master's in Canada seamlessly. However, if you don't have a master's, if you don't have a 2-1, there are other options available. I'm also going to encourage you to, listen to more of the things we post on the IDP websites about all of these things. They are very informative, so you can help yourself to that information. Now, you can do other things in Canada aside a master's if you're having a 2-2. You can do programs like a postgraduate diploma or a graduate certificate program. Please note that the postgraduate diploma and the graduate certificate program are one and the same thing, but they are called different things in different provinces. So you see one province calling it a postgraduate diploma. For example, in British Columbia, that's BC. They call it a postgraduate diploma. However, in provinces like Ontario, they call it a graduate certificate program. So please note that it's one and the same thing. Now, if you have a 2-2, you're qualified for that. If you have a 2-1, you can also still do that. I'm coming there. But 2-2, that. Also, if your finances are not so strong in the sense of payment for tuition, it's advisable that you also shift towards that end so that you can get that sorted. Because it's cheaper to actually do that than the master's. The master's is pricey. So if you're going for a master's program in Canada, please be financially ready for it. It is pricey. But if you don't have as much cash or as much financial strength, you can do the postgraduate diploma or the graduate certificate program. It still gives you the opportunity for what I was talking about in my first slide, which is the postgraduate work permit. If you do a 1-year program, you get a 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you do a 2 years program, you get a 2 to 3 years, most often than not, a 3 years postgraduate study work permit. Okay. So we do not apply for medicine or law school. I'm going to talk about medicine in another slide, but I just want to ring it here that we don't apply for it. As an international student, you are not qualified for that. Now, okay. All right, thank you. So what are the documents you need for this application? Kindly note that if you've not completed your bachelor's and then you call and you're saying, oh, my counselor, I'd like to go for a master's program. I'm in my final year. I'm not done with my bachelor's degree. Please finish your bachelor's degree because you need your final transcripts. Without your final transcript, you cannot proceed with the application. You can proceed, but they won't give you an offer. So you need to have your final transcript for you to move on to make an application to any Canadian university for a master's program. Okay. So yes, the CV, very important. If you're going for a master's program, you must have a level of working experience, even if it's not the contemporary one, at least internships, but whatever it is, just have your CV properly structured. How do you do that? Kindly note that in every CV you do, put the beginning of a thing and the end of the thing. Don't just put the end. Always put the 2, when you started, when you ended. Very important because it's even required in the application. So it's very necessary that you do this as well. So you can also guide your counselor to assist you properly. Yeah, so for the MBA programs, of course, work experience is very important, right? You should have worked for nothing less than 3 years. Some schools will say that, although some schools waive that, but they would require like you're going for a foundation program, like schools like University Canada West would require that. Statement of intent. Statement of intent is just like the personal statement, right? But you need to be very detailed. You are going for a master's program, you need to be very detailed. Please also note that there are two kinds of masters, the course-based and the thesis-based masters. So sometimes you see one that is quite cheaper than the other, and then it kind of like negates what I've just said about a master's program being pricey. Kindly note that the thesis master's program is cheaper, but it would require you to get a supervisor. I'll be talking about the PhD and the master's as we go forward in this slide. Yes, and about the IELTS, optional as well. Necessary, but optional. Okay, the application process, very simple, right? But please note that you should always find or seek counsel from someone who is more experienced in the application process, especially for the master's program and the undergraduates as well, because the master's is very tricky. You don't want to make any mistakes in your application. So it's very good that you have your counselor put you through the application process. Now, you can either apply online, that's the direct application via the school website, or the links that schools use, or the paper application, or the issuing documents method. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just run you through this, the OUAC portal. This is for Ontario universities and all of that. So if you want to do more than one application for the universities in Canada, you might use this app, the OUAC. But like I said, you don't have to bother yourself with that. Let your counselor assist you with it so that it is seamless. Okay. Applying for medicine, I'm going to run through this very quickly, just in case there's any undergraduate students here that can hear me and you want to read medicine. So medicine is strictly not for the international student. It's strictly not. Capital letters, caps. It's not for the international student. It's basically for the Canadian students. So before you have the opportunity to read medicine in Canada, you must be a PR and you must have finished 4 years bachelor's, and then you can proceed to that. But you must be a PR in order for you to go to med school in Canada. You can't be an international student and do that. They don't allow it. They don't allow it. Also, that applies to the law school as well. You have to be PR for you to do all of that. So, yeah. Okay, I've talked about this. Yes, scholarships. Yes, some schools give scholarships, but you need to deserve it. Canada is very big on merit, so you need to merit the scholarship. You need to really, really merit. Full scholarships, I don't know about that, but partial scholarships, I do know about that. And I know that you need to merit it. And I know that some of the scholarships require you to write like an essay or something. Please write it. And also please check out the school website and key into it as well. Okay, yeah. So yes, good news. You can actually work and study. People calling to ask me, can you work and study? Oh, yes, you can. And better news, I must announce that the Canadian government have lifted up the 20 hours work permit, so you can work for as long as you can as an international student. That's exciting. It's exciting for me. You can work more than 20 hours per week, meaning that you can be able to actually lead a better lifestyle in Canada. But please, please, don't let that overshadow the essence of you going, which is studying. So make sure that you're actually studying, but know that you have the opportunity to work for as long as you choose. And it's really, really exciting. Okay. Okay, I talked about the internships. I've also talked about the co-op. I'm not going to go over it because I'm going to just brush through it so that you can have an idea. So the co-op option is basically you having the work experience while being a student. You get to work in the field that you're studying, adding to your years of postgraduate work, your postgraduate work study. It's very beautiful. It's a beautiful option for students, and I advise that students take this. It's available in the bachelor's and the master's, and also at the graduate certificate level instance. Yeah. And if you do so well, the co-op is paid. So yeah. Okay. So you can work after graduation as well. It's a very beautiful option. Like I said before, if you do a 1-year program, you get to do a 1-year work permit. If you do a 2 years program, get to do a 2 to 3 years work permit. All of this mesh together to form you getting your PR. So it is really, really, really easy. Yeah, I've talked about this already. Yeah, I've talked about it already. So that's it from my own end as regards this. Very beautiful opportunity talking to everyone. Please note that Canada is a very accommodating place. It's a very, very accommodating place, and it will be an opportunity to also assist you all to get to Canada. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Precious, for that informative session on admissions to Canada. So we having Tosan talk about the visa aspect of Canada. So we all know how cumbersome visa application process can be for Canada. So thank you all once again for joining. The rest of you that just came in shortly, please get your questions ready. So you can post your questions in the chat room. Thank you, Tosan.
So, hello everyone. Yes, so Tosan is coming up in a bit. She's trying to set the whole thing up. So don't forget that if you have any question concerning any of the things we talked about, please put it on the chat box. We're going to attend to every one of them. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. So I'm going to talk about the Canadian visa process. I hope you get one or two things in this session. So I move now to the next slide, which happens to be the content. So we're going to talk about the document checklist and some other information as regards when you get your study permits, the next thing to do before we move on to question and answers. Okay, so to apply for a study permit in Canada, of course, you need your acceptance letter and you need a valid passport. That's your travel documents. You must also show proof of funds because it's important that you show and prove that you have enough funds for your tuition, for your living expenses, for your transportation, and of course, you have to be in good health. It's part of the documents that you would supply to the visa officer is also your medical examination. So it's very important you have that as well. All right, so your offer letter and of course your letter of acceptance, you as a student, you must be accepted at a designated learning institute, which is approved by the government of Canada. And as soon as your letter of admission is issued, you are to accept your offer. After accepting your offer, you pay your tuition deposit, then you receive your letter of acceptance from the school. So the visa documents, the basic visa documents required for you to, put in a successful application are your letter of admission from your school, your original transcript, because it's very important to submit your transcript as well. It's part of your academic documents. And then your valid IELTS reports that some schools would want you to submit an IELTS result. So if at all you've written IELTS, you can submit it for your visa application as well. Please note that the CAM scanner and photo snapshots are not accepted. When you scan your documents and then you're putting in using the scanner with your phone, it's not accepted. It doesn't have to show. So you need to use a proper scanner to scan in your documents. So for your financial documents, you need your bank statements. And of course, that bank statement has to show 1 year full tuition of your living expenses, your tuition fee, and your travel costs. Very important. And then if you're using the fixed deposit, you must include your letter from your bank, you know, alongside the fixed deposit copies. You can use your investment documents as well. You can use your property document because it's part of your assets. This plus for you if you have your property. Yeah. So if you are a minor, you require to have a sponsorship letter from your parents, as if your parents is sponsoring you. There's something that is called letter of financial support. This is for the sponsor to fill on behalf of the students. So your parents or your guardian has to pay your tuition fee as well. If you are eligible to apply for a scholarship, if you meet the requirement for scholarship, yes, you would attach your scholarship letter alongside every other document. So the property evaluation certificate, also from your own country, is one thing that can not be overemphasized. You need to submit that as well if you're submitting a property to the embassy, because the embassy also needs to know the value of the document you're submitting. That's the property document you're submitting. So I move now to the next slide, which is also the visa checklist, the other documents. So you need your statement of intent. So the statement of intent is like the statement of purpose. It's also called the study plan. So you need to state why you are going for that program, the benefits of the program to you in the long run, what you can use, the certification or the degree to do in the nearest future. Where can you fit into the society upon completion of your program? Why do you want to go study that program? So that's the essence of the statement of intent. So you need your birth certificate as well, or your affidavit, whichever one. You need your original passports, very important, your passports. You need your passport photographs as well, white background. You also need a police clearance certificate. So you might be asked to provide that. If asked, yes, you can put that as well. And you need the medical examination. So you could do this upfront, or that's before the submission of your visa application documents to the embassy, or you could do that. You could wait for the visa office to request for it, but it's advisable you do this upfront. Actually, this will save you time if you do that. All right, so I would move now to the statement of intent. Why do you want to study this program in Canada and not your own country? So you need to state the reason why you want to study the program in Canada and not in your own country. You will need to compare different destinations, why you chose Canada amongst every other destinations, and what are the reasons for doing the program, the course. Why have you chosen that particular university or college that you have, decided to go for? Also, what is the relevance of the course to your academic or employment background? So you need to put that into consideration as well. Why you're going for the program. I mean, the benefits of the program to you in the long run, as I said earlier. So who is sponsoring your studies as well? You need to state that in your letter statement of intent or study plan. And lastly, you need to state your own ties to your country, Nigeria. So your own ties could be, your family members, and of course your job. It could also be your properties that you have or your businesses that you have here in your own country, Nigeria. All right, so I'll move now to the next slide. So the process is, very easy, it's straightforward. You just need to complete your forms online, and these forms are the application for study permit form made outside Canada. These forms could be found online as well on the Canadian website. You need to complete your family information form, and if you have travel history, there's something we call Schedule 1 form. You need to complete that form as well. So your visa application fee is 235 Canadian dollar, and which gives you 150 visa application fee, and then the 85 dollar is the biometric fees. So if you've done biometric, probably you've traveled to Canada, maybe visited in the past 10 years, You don't need to do biometric again. So you're only going to pay the 150 Canadian dollar. So I move now to the next slide, which is also the requirement for the study permit application. So you ensure that you pay all of your required fees, because as soon as your letter of admission is issued, you'll be given a certain amount to pay for your tuition. So you need to meet that requirement. Very important. And then you need to follow the correct application process. It's important to follow the right application process. You need to go to the Canadian website and apply. You don't need to buy the forms from anyone, please. Make sure you get it from the genuine source, which is online on the Canadian website. That's where you get the forms. So you need to show strong supporting documents, such as the sponsor's document. Some people choose to use a sponsor. Yes, you can. You can have someone sponsor your education and you also co-sponsor. It's fine to do that as well. But then whosoever is sponsoring you has to have like a relationship with you. It's preferable you use your family member, could be your parents or your siblings, your uncle, your auntie, those people. You should be able to prove relationship between yourself and them. It's important. All right. So next is of course, you need to show um, strong ties to your own country. Very, very important. And you apply to your program, you apply online and get your visa at the end of the day. Your study plan has to be thorough, please. Very important. Very important. You're not going for interviews, so your study plan is like your face. That's what will speak for you. So it's important to write a thorough study plan. You do a good job in doing that. Okay, so I just spoke about the process, and that will be all for now. Thank you for joining. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now, and we'll take questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tosan, for that session on visa documentation process. Okay, so we're going to take questions now, and I'll go with the first question in the chat room. So Mabel says, thank you, Precious. Firstly, please, is advanced diploma, graduate certificate, and postgraduate diploma all the same? I think our network went off when you were explaining that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mabel. That was a very nice question. So there's a difference between the advanced diploma and the postgraduate diploma or certificate. The advanced diploma is for the undergraduate level. I see there's a glitch somewhere. So the advanced diploma is for the undergraduate level, and the postgraduate is for the graduate level. So if you do the advanced diploma instead of the postgraduate diploma, you stand a very high risk of getting a visa refusal. So if you're qualified for a postgraduate, please stick with that. And that's if you already have a BSc already, you can go for that. But if you don't, you can do the advanced diploma. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Precious. I hope Precious answered your question. Okay, so another question from you is, for someone who has a BSc degree in international relations with a 2.2, as a second class role, and has a certificate in IT, BCS certificate in IT from UK, but wants a PhD in tech field in Canada, do I stand a chance? Okay, Mabel, I would advise that Precious drops her email address with you so you can have a one-on-one session with her to answer your question better. Okay, so to the next question, this is Lisa Tosan, so I think you can answer this. Can I apply for a visa from a third country like Dubai?
Absolutely. Yes, you can, please. The most important thing is to fill in your online forms and provide the necessary documents. Upon submission of your application online, you could visit the closest Canadian visa center, could be the VFS, at your location. So yes, you can. As I said earlier, please submit the right documents, fill in your application forms, and you're good to go. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. The second question is, how much is only the visa processing without admission? Romeo, I'm sure you're the one that asked this question, so I don't understand what you mean by how much is only the, do you mean the fee to the embassy? So if that's what it is, Tosan, do you want to take
I think he's asking about service charge, if IDP charges.
Okay, so if that's the question, Romeo, then please note that IDP would not charge you for our services. It's free of charge. We won't be making application fees to the school and fee to the embassy, and their fees you will cover the embassy, which is your application fee and your biometrics fee. So I hope we've answered your question. If that's not clear, please kindly send another message or drop your email address. So I'm going to the next question. What are the PR pathways for a student with 1 year postgraduate diploma and 1 year postgraduate work permit? I think I will take this, Tosan. All right, so it all depends on the province you're going to or you're studying. And so there's some province that when you do your 1 year studies, you automatically be able to apply for PR. So we're looking at provinces like Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. So if you're going to provinces like that, after 1 year of studies, before you even get your 1 year postgraduate work permit, you can actually get your PR. I hope that answers your question. Okay. So I have another question here. I hold an MBA and the education gap is about 14 years. I hope there won't be a problem for the Canadian admission. Tosan, I think you should take this.
Okay, so you have an MBA and you have 14 years gap. That's it, right? Okay, so I want to believe you've been working for over 14 years. You have work experience. I want to believe you do. So if you do, yes, it's not an issue actually. And the most important thing is to put it in your CV. Your CV would speak for you, and you should be able to present it appropriately. Present your CV. That's what I mean. And it's not an issue for visa processing as well, and it's not an issue for admissions processing if you meet the criteria for that particular admission. Yeah.
Thank you, Tosan. So if you have work experience for that 14 years of study gap, you're good to go because your work experience will count for you in the admission and visa process. Okay, so to the next question, please, are we going to be giving an advisor each? Okay, Oluwani, I'm not sure I understand your question. Please, you want to send it again, explaining what exactly you mean. So we have this from Sami. Good evening. Is NECO results acceptable to process admission? Precious, I think you can take this.
Yes. So NECO result is actually also acceptable, not for all schools, but some schools actually accept it, so it's fine. Oh yes. So schools like Saskatchewan Polytechnic, they accept it. Conestoga, they accept it. Fanshawe College, they accept that as well. So it's not a problem.
Thank you so much. Many more schools accept NECO than. All right, next question. My question is, I have a brother who already has skill. Can he sponsor my son to study in Canada, and how? Okay, so Tosan would answer the question on if he can sponsor your son. Okay, Tosan, please go. He or she is asking if the brother in Canada who already had a permanent residence card or residency in Canada can sponsor his son here in Nigeria so they can come to Canada. I think that's what the question means.
Okay, so your brother apparently is your son's uncle. I want to believe that. Yes. So you can sponsor him. You need to show relationship between yourself, your brother, and your son. So showing relationship, I mean, you need to present documents such as birth certificate of your brother or marriage certificate as well, and also your own death certificate and marriage certificate, including that of your son. So your son's birth certificate, just to show that yourself and your brother as the same parents. So they are looking, the visa officer is actually looking at your parents' name from the birth certificate and then your father's name from the marriage certificate. Yeah, so yes, your brother can sponsor your son.
Yeah. Thank you, Tosan. So, Taliat, I hope I pronounced your name right. I think you should drop your email address so that Tosan can contact you with further information on what will be required for your brother to sponsor your son. Okay, so from Grace, Grace is asking, how much do I need for thorough fee admission process to get a visa? I'm not sure I get that, but I'm sure she's asking how much admission fee process is, right? I don't. Well, if you're asking how much IDP charges, it's free of charge, and application fee varies to schools. So the cost for admission process or application fee differs for different schools or colleges or universities. So it ranges between 100 to 200 Canadian dollars. So yes, I hope that answers your question. So the next question is, cold emailing a professor for a PhD, how long should I wait to get a reply? Okay, I think that's up to the university or whoever you're reaching out to. Is at their, it's their jurisdiction. So this is beyond IDP, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. But I think you can drop your email address so that we can assist you better. There are some schools that have good response time, so I don't really know which school you're sending an email to, but there are some supervisors or professors that respond within a week or two. So yeah, if you drop your email, Precious or any one of us will reach out to you. So there's another question. In a situation where I have been denied the visa, can I apply again? Tosan, please take this.
Yes, you can apply for a visa. Yes, you just have to bring in a stronger case. Check the reason why you were refused in the first place, and then put in a better application. So yes, you can apply. Please don't relent.
Okay, so to add to what Tosan said, if you've been denied the visa, you can apply immediately. You don't need to wait for a year, 2 years or so before you apply. So yes, you can reapply. Another question says, please, is this okay? So Obina, you're asking if this session is being recorded. Yes, it is. So do you want to drop your email address so we can reach out to you? Alternatively, this question will be sent out to you too. So, and it will be posted on YouTube just in case. Don't get the link. Please check IDP page on YouTube. So I'll be sharing the YouTube link shortly. So another question, I already have an MSc with 10 years plus work experience, but I want to apply directly for PhD using my BSc degree. What are my chances using my work experience as offer? Okay, Tosan, this is for you.
Okay, so 10 years work experience already. You want to apply for a PhD? Did I get that question? So what are our chances, putting into consideration our work experiences? Using BSc, so where would you put the MSc? Are you going to throw it away? Yeah. So your MSc would actually be a stepping stone for you. You have to use the MSc actually to apply for your PhD because that's one criteria that the admission officer looks at. Especially your professor who you will deal directly with at the end of the day. upon approval of your research, your proposed work that will be submitted to the school. So you need your MSc to apply for your PhD. Very important, not your BSc. Thank you.
Thank you, Tosan. So we have Henry. He says, thanks, guys. You guys are doing a great job. Please, I hear some schools and some provinces allow for admission to be deferred for a year so that the student can work to make up for the tuition. If yes, can you guys help in searching for such schools? Okay, so Precious, do you want to take this? Okay, so he says he has heard that some provinces allow students to defer their admission for a year so they can work to make up for tuition. If yes, can you guys help him? Okay, so I'll take this. Henry, unfortunately, I don't think this is true. I've not heard it before. No province, no school will allow you work for a year to make up for tuition. So the truth of the matter is, if you're not paying tuition, it's a red flag and they would alert the embassy and you may be deported. So your best chance is to make sure you have enough funds if you're looking at studying in Canada. Recall that you can actually work for more than 20 hours in a week now. So you can make up for some funds that will take care of your living expenses, but not tuition. So you need funds to study in Canada. I hope that answered your question. Thank you. So to the next question, if I need to engage IDP for visa advice only, please, what is the cost implication? Okay, so Olumide, like I said, we do not charge our students. There's no cost implication. Our services are free. However, IDP would love to assist our students from the grassroots, meaning from admissions to visa process. So I don't know if you have admission already, but if you don't, kindly drop your email address and we'll contact you as soon as possible. So next question, can I travel with my children who are 11 years and 13 years when going for my postgraduate? Thanks. Tosan, please take this.
Yes, so yes, you can travel with them, your kids. You can go with them, but you need to show funds, money. You need to show enough cash to foot their bills because it's important that you provide all of this. Put into consideration your tuition, your living expenses, and you're having kids coming over to you. So with you to Canada, to a new country that you're just coming into. So it's best to have enough funds to show the visa officer and to convince the visa officer that you can actually take care of them and yourself while in school. But in all sincerity, the chances are actually slim in securing the visa. And that's because the visa officer would always want the principal applicant, that happens to be you, to come in first, get settled in school, and then your family, your kids, your husband, your spouse will join you within 3 to 6 months. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tosan. So just in case you're confused about why the visa officer would like you to apply first before your family can come and join, is because you need to show you have strong ties in Nigeria. So one of the reasons, or majority of the reasons students are being denied is because they don't have ties in Nigeria, especially for those that are married. So if you're married and you want to take your whole children with you to Canada, the visa officer is automatically looking at it that you're definitely not going to come back to this country. And so I don't see any reason why I should give you a visa. So we don't want to give them that signal or red light or green light. So yes, thank you so much, Tosan, for that answer. So Babatunde is asking, do you represent schools in the United States, Australia, and United Kingdom? Yes, we do represent schools in US, Australia, Ireland, United Kingdom, and New Zealand. Yes, so I hope that answers your question. IDP covers these countries you've listed and more. Thank you. So next question, can I use my HND for application to a university and not a polytechnic in Canada? So polytechnic means college. So Precious, over to you.
All right, then thank you for that question. So yes, you can use your HND. Yes, you can actually apply with your HND. But then the issue now comes when your HND is in the lower, then there's a problem. So you should have the upper credit, because most of the schools, including colleges, would require that you have it. So it's really important that you have the upper and not the lower.
Okay, sorry, Precious. Are you trying to say someone can use a HND to apply to the university? And is it going to be for master's or for postgraduate diploma?
Okay. So yes, a postgraduate diploma is what you can actually go for at the end of the day. The master's, not really. Most schools will not accept it for a master's. So it has to be like the postgraduate diploma at the end of the day. But like the point I was trying to make is that even if you're going for a postgraduate diploma, your HND has to be in the upper and not the lower. If it's in the lower, you have very limited options. But if it's the upper, you have most colleges that will accept you for a postgraduate diploma. So yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Precious. Bruno, you're asking who do we contact for visa processing? You can contact any of us, Precious, Tucson, or myself. This webinar is over. Drop our email address so that you can contact us easily.
Okay,
Sorry, let me add to what you just
said. As regards Romeo's question to contact for visa processing, yes. So we offer full service. Please note, we love it when we start your application for you from the beginning up to the end. So we don't offer half service, just visa services. No, we do it from the scratch, admission and visa processing. Thank you.
Thank you, Tosan. I think I missed that. I'm so sorry. So Ore Oluwani, you said I asked the question so to have a better one-on-one session as I start to. Okay, so Ore Oluwani, please drop your email address and I'm going to contact you. Thank you. So Joseph, yes, you can see the like I just dropped the IDP name on YouTube, so you can watch the video after the session. It will be posted, so look out for it on YouTube. Okay. Can my dependent, who is my husband, who was denied visa, affect my visa application? Okay, Tucson, I think you can take this.
No, he's not the applicant. You are the applicant, so his visa denial cannot affect. Even if you as the principal applicant had probably been denied visa previously, you can still apply and be given visa. As I said earlier, you need to bring on a stronger case. You need to bring up a good file that is presentable. You need to write a thorough statement of purpose. Please, this is very important. You need to be thorough in it so you could get a positive response from the visa officer. And that's where IDP comes in place to guide you all through. As soon as you get your admission, we assist you with the admission process and then we guide you through the visa application as well. So you get your visa at the end of the day and you'll be happy and we'll be happy too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Sally, I have a BSc. I want to apply for MSc in Canada. How much will it cost me in terms of visa and school fees? Okay, Susan, pick that, please. Thank you.
So it's asking about visa and school fees, how much it's costing. Okay, all right. So for the visa processing, if you've done biometric before, for the visa application, you need to budget 235 Canadian dollar, and that is paid directly to the embassy. As said earlier, IDP is not charging you whatsoever for our services that we're rendering to you. Your admission processing you are applying through IDP, but you are paying your tuition directly to the school. No one in IDP is allowed to give you any account details to make any funds into their accounts because the service is free of charge. And then as regards your MSc program, that's the cost. So you should budget between 15,000 to about 35,000 Canadian dollar, and that's per year for your master's program in Canada. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tosin. So there's another question. I'm applying for master's in journalism. So what are the requirements? I have HND in mass communication in Lagos State Polytechnic. Okay, so Ogidon, I hope I pronounced your name right. Because of time, I think you should drop your email address and reach out to you with the requirements to study master's program. However, I need to make you understand that because you have a HND, you'll be doing a postgraduate diploma instead of an MSc. But please drop your email address so that we can give you more information on this. Then we have Daniel. The opportunity to work for more than 20 hours a week, is it for all students or those who have the co-op option? Yes, Daniel, it's for all students and not just students that have co-op. It's for all the international students that are studying in Canada. So do I necessarily have to work within the confines of the school? If yes, why? Precious, do you want to take this? Okay, so I'll take this. Not necessarily. You don't need to work on campus. You can work outside campus too. That's the new development right now, since students are allowed to work for more than 20 hours in a week. So we'll be rounding up. Just in case you don't answer your questions, please note that you can always watch this webinar on YouTube. Yes, the last question. Are there scholarship programs available automatically for international applicants? Tosin, please take this.
Yes, there are entrance scholarships available for international applicants, and that's based on merit. If you have a first class or probably you're going for an undergraduate program and you had all A's, yes, there are entrance scholarship available for the students, but you still need to show proof of funds. Very important because the scholarship could be like 1,000 Canadian dollar, 1,005. It could also be as much as 5,000 Canadian dollar. But most scholarship options are actually based on merit. So you need to perform wonderfully well. Even when you are admitted into the school, you should be an outstanding student. And yes, scholarship options
will be open to you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, so I think we should drop our email address in the chat so that if you have further questions, you can please send us a mail so we can reply you as soon as possible. So I want to thank everyone for joining this webinar. We appreciate you. So like we said, and I need to stress because I've been seeing some questions asking how much our services are. IDP will not charge you for her services, so it is free of charge. You're only making your application fee payment directly to the school, tuition payment directly to the school, and visa payment directly to the embassy. So thank you once again for joining this session, and thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye. So please, before you leave, just check out for our email address. We're going to drop it right now. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Please follow us on social media, Instagram, YouTube. Please follow us. Thank
Twitter.
you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.